Munster Championship action today centred on Clare and Limerick, and that turned out to be a fine match as well. That's a repeat of last year's National League final. Now, many people felt that Limerick's victories in the league finals of 84 and 85 didn't particularly help them in their build-up to the championship. So would today be different, or would Clare get revenge for that league final of last year? Your commentator in Ennis today was Jim Carney.
The Limerick team that beat Clare in last year's National League final is now without experienced players like Leonard Enright, Mossy Carroll, Liam O'Donoghue and Ollie O'Connor. But Paddy Fitzmaurice and Pat Herbert both returned to the full back line. Behind them, Tommy Quaid is well again after injury. Jimmy Carroll, a most accomplished hurler, moves from centre-back to midfield. And up front, Brian Bomber Carroll is on the 40. Danny Fitzgerald moves into the right corner. And Pat McCarthy, of course, has taken over Joe McKenna's old position at full forward. Paddy Fitzmaurice here is the latest to take Leonard Enright's position at full back, having moved to defence again after an unsuccessful spell in the forward line. While that recovery from a knee injury by Tommy Quaid is perhaps the best news of all for Limerick followers, he's unquestionably one of the best goalkeepers in modern-day hurling. Clare today have 3 men making their first Munster Championship appearances, including their goalkeeper Owen McMahon, and the 2 men in the middle of the defence, full-back John Maroney and centre-half Jim McInerney. They join colleagues with vast experience, men like Ger Loughnane and Tommy Keane, the cornerbacks, Sean Stack, the left half, and Johnny Callanan, one of the county's greatest ever forwards, who's now in the right corner. This man, Jerry McInerney, returns to the left corner of the Clare attack after a long layoff with injuries, and his scoring skills will be badly needed. And there's a welcome return too for Sean Stack, who's been in the United States for the past 12 months. A hurler of incomparable class, always a delight to watch. The referee today is Willie Horgan, a former hurler and footballer with his club in Cork, the Brian Dillons. The midfielders, Jimmy Carroll and Shawnee McMahon, Alan Cunningham of Clare and Andy Garvey of Limerick. Limerick have won the toss and elected to play with the wind. That's into the goal on your right. And it's Jimmy Carroll to set up the first attack for Limerick. Here's Ray Sampson, looking for the full forward, Pat McCarthy. John Maroney was out there quickly for Clare, but it can still come. The first score here for Limerick, and for the corner forward, Shane Fitzgibbon. The first puck out for the Clare goalkeeper, Owen McMahon from the Aero Oak Club. Shawnee McMahon has already broken a stick inside the first 60 seconds of the game. Ray Sampson again for Limerick, who seems to be playing far away from the left half forward position in only the early minutes. Johnny Callanan and Pat Herbert, their first clash, one of the most interesting tussles scheduled for today, and already Clare have got a free in. Some hard pulling there. Pat Herbert doesn't like the decision. Willie Horgan has gone in to explain why he's given it the free to Clare. Cyril Lyons then with the chance and with the free and with the point. Nicely put through there by Andy Garvey towards Bomber Carroll. Trying to play it first time in towards Pat McCarthy. Shane Fitzgibbon and Ger Loughnane in a hard clash. Danny Fitzgerald here for Limerick. Danny Fitzgerald looking for the point himself. It's a very good strike by Danny Fitzgerald, and he's got the point. For a second he thought about giving it out to Paddy Kelly, but he had the confidence to pick it off himself. Tommy Quaid had an injured knee coming up to this game, but the injury has cleared up. He's not even wearing knee bandages or protective pads or anything like that. And a good puck too with the wing to Paddy Kelly to make a run. Paddy Kelly will take a point from there surely. Yes, he does. And how smartly Paddy Kelly snapped up that one and flicked it over. Tommy Kane under that one. Falling to Paddy Kelly. A chance of another point for Paddy Kelly. That's very accurate striking. Paddy Kelly skipping away from his man, Sean Stack. Out of competitive hurling, of course, for a long time, but giving Paddy Kelly room, and that's fatal. 8 minutes of play gone. Limerick snapping up their chances, leading by 4 points to 1, and Clare still to settle here on their own home ground in Cusack Park. Bomber Carroll out towards Ray Sampson. And it's the Limerick half-forwards that have been doing all the damage. Ray Sampson with a chance at the point to make it 5. He does. The goalkeeper didn't like that decision. He was trying to get the umpire to flag it wide, but the umpire put up the flag. Another point for Ray Sampson. Another good race between Jerry McInerney and Peter O'Connor. The Clare man was swinging the hardest, and the free will be to Limerick. Ger Hegarty's free. Was Pat McCarthy and the fullback John Maroney, well taken out by John Maroney there, particularly against a big strong man like McCarthy. The Clare man doing well in his Munster Championship debut. It can still come here, however, for Limerick and Pat McCarthy. Ger Loughnane trying to tidy it up, and at the second attempt he'll have to turn and clear Ger Loughnane. Sean Stack there to help as well, but it's come for Paddy Kelly, who'll turn here and try for the point. Paddy Kelly dropping it in. The goalkeeper had his eye on it, but it's spun out of his fingers and spun over the bar. Another point for Paddy Kelly, another point for Limerick. So Limerick on top throughout the field in these early stages. Alan Cunningham beaten to that one by Andy Garvey. And Garvey with it a second time. Cunningham, however, went back to tidy it up for Clare. Ray Sampson looking for Danny Fitzgerald. He's having a great clash with Tommy Kane, and he's been having the better of it in this first quarter. Jimmy Carey hooked there by Pat Lynch. Coming here to Danny Fitzgerald. Danny Fitzgerald trying for the point. Is it long enough? Yes, it is. It certainly was straight enough. A tremendous point. Beautifully struck there by Danny Fitzgerald. And what an opening quarter he's had at right corner forward. Sil Dolan trying to get it across, but the Limerick backs, well, they're in a bit of trouble now. They're looking for a goal here, and they've got the free. Johnny Calnan, the man who put his head down there, headed for goal, and he's got himself a penalty. But that was a good run by Calnan, because Limerick seemed to have it covered, but he snapped it up. There was nothing on his mind except a goal. Well, he didn't get the goal, but he's got the chance, and a very good chance too, of a goal. This could cut the deficit to 4 points. Clare badly need this goal, and they've got it. Ger McInerney, the scorer. Shane Fitzgibbon with the chance of the goal. It's blocked by Owen McMahon. It was a great save by the Clare goalkeeper. Sean Stack to derive inspiration from that save, and what a save it was. It was a very good line cut. Shane Fitzgibbon kept his eye on it, picked it out of the air and tore in. He looked to have the goal at his mercy, but Owen McMahon was very brave, and he gallantly blocked it and got it out. Jim McInerney and Brian Carroll. McInerney winning that one for Clare. Winning it well too, and getting it down towards Johnny Calnan. Pat Creamer there for Limerick. He's had a good match, Pat Creamer. A relative newcomer to this level of hurling. Cyril Lyons towards Jerry McInerney. He'll try to turn here and get the point. He's under a lot of pressure, but he got it nicely to Alan Cunningham. The chance of a point here for Alan Cunningham. He's got it. He worked himself free. But the credit there, I think, must go to Jerry McInerney, who unselfishly turned there and gave the scoring pass to that man, Alan Cunningham. Pulled on by Cyril Lyons towards Johnny Calnan. A buzz when Johnny Calnan gets possession. Oh, the idea was very good. The execution just didn't match it, but it might still come for Clare. Jerry McInerney. The scoring chance here. A goal, surely. Yes! Cyril Dolan, the scorer. It was Johnny Calnan that upset the Limerick defence with that flick through. It didn't come at the first attempt, it did at the second attempt, and when it was put through to Cyril Dolan, he was all on his own. He couldn't really have missed from that range, but really you must ask the question, where were the Limerick backs as Cyril Dolan found himself unmarked in front of the goal? Well, that was nicely done by Shane Fitzgibbon, but it can come back here for Clare. Tommy Kane using the boot to get it down towards his half forwards. Shawnee McMahon using the stick. Cyril Lyons. That's the equaliser from Cyril Lyons. That all started with Tommy Kane's kicked clearance. Shawnee McMahon helped it through. It fell eventually to Cyril Lyons, who put it over. So 6 minutes of play to go in this first half. The sides are level, and Liam O'Donoghue's introduction bound to put some life into the Limerick men again. Danny Fitzgerald, he'll try to go all the way here for the goal. He's got the point. I'm sure he was looking for a goal. Owen McMahon was standing his ground as Danny Fitzgerald cut in from the right wing, but he topped it slightly as he hit it, and he had to be content with the point. It's half-time. It's 2-4 to Clare, 11 points to Limerick. Limerick lead by a point. But at the end of the first quarter in this first half, Limerick, playing with the wind, had built up a very, very big lead. And then Clare struck back, and goals by Jerry McInerney and Sil Dolan have given them tremendous hope for the second. Val Donlan is now in the Clare attack for the second half. He's come in place of Alan Cunningham. Val Donlan was a much talked about prospect as a 17 and 18-year-old a couple of years ago. Indeed, he might well have earned a place in the starting lineup today, but there simply wasn't room for everybody. But he's in for the second half to prove his worth. Only a point between them, remember. Clare trailing by that point, but they're playing now with the advantage of a very strong wind. However, they've missed an early chance. That one has just gone wide. Well, we had some exciting passages in the first half, but it still wasn't quite the high standard we had expected. I feel this will be a much better second half. Jim McInerney's clearance. Sil Dolan and Paudie Fitzmaurice in the tussle. Sil Dolan to try to get it to keep it in play. Paudie Fitzmaurice under a bit of pressure, but doing well to get in the clearance. Batted down, however, by Shawnee McMahon. Pat Kramer here for Limerick, one of the stars of the first half. The foul on Shawnee McMahon. This angle then suiting a left-handed striker. Cyril Lyons with the equaliser. Yes, he's got it. Cyril Lyons. Clare have not led in this match so far. They have a chance here. Jerry McInerney robbed by Peter O'Connor and Pat Kramer to get it further out for Limerick. But it's fallen to James Shanahan. Val Donlan, he snapped it up, he's got the lead point. That's the first time in this match that Clare have led, and Val Donlan, the substitute, showing his work. The crowd really getting behind Clare now. Pat Lynch, blocked by Liam O'Donoghue, who's trying very hard since he came on for Limerick. Ray Sampson slipping two men nicely and getting it down towards Paddy Kelly, who had worked free of his marker, Declan Cook. Paddy Kelly, a timely shoulder there by Ger Loughnane, experience telling, and Owen McMahon with the clearance. Johnny Callan to try to keep it in play. It slipped through towards Cyril Lyons. Brian Finn back there to cover for Limerick. Under a bit of pressure, he's got Pat Kramer to give it to. Oh, I thought for a second he was over-carrying that one. Pat Herbert to help. Down towards Ray Sampson, nicely to Jimmy Carroll, who had run free. Some good combination play again by the Limerick men. Ger Loughnane lost his hurley, but still managing to get it out towards Sean Stack, who turned nicely and got away from his marker there. Blocked out by Pat Kramer, who may try for the point himself if he can rise this one. He can't. A very good pull there by Jim McInerney, who's had a very satisfactory match at centre half-back for Clare. Declan Coos and Paddy Kelly. Coos wins this one. Kelly not quite so prominent as he was in the first 20 minutes. And Coos with the clearance for Clare. Down towards Johnny Calman. Paudie Fitzmaurice with the clearance. This is much better hurling now. To Val Donlan, looking for a second point. Val Donlan, he's got it. He found great space there. Val Donlan with the point. But once again, it was a colleague who did the hard work. It was Cyril Lyons who gave him the scoring pass. Pat Lynch. Liam O'Donoghue having first running. Sir Lyons didn't pull back from the challenge though, but Liam O'Donoghue got in the clearance. Only, however, as far as Pat Lynch. Looking for his own score. Tommy Quaid, a good catch by Tommy Quaid, and a good clearance too. But Pat Lynch to get it back. Jimmy Carroll to help for Limerick. Ray Sampson running free. Oh, Jim McInerney's chasing back, but Ray Sampson. Can he give it back to Andy Garvey? Ray, off the body of a Clare man. It's falling here for Shane Fitzgibbon. It's been blocked by Ger Loughnane. That was a very, very brave block down by Ger Loughnane, who hurled his body at that one as Shane Fitzgibbon looked for the score. Well, this is one Paddy Kelly is very anxious to point, because they trail now to Baldonnellan's 2 points. Paddy Kelly to try to cut it back and make it one, but he's failed. It's gone wide. He was striking into the wind. He just didn't judge it the way he likes to. A rare miss by Paddy Kelly. Almost 8 minutes of play. Clare very happy, I'm sure, after their tentative start. But Jimmy Carroll here for Limerick. Put under pressure by Pat Lynch. Liam O'Donoghue put under pressure too. Another chance for Clare and another point. And Baldonnellan once again the man who got it. That's 3 he's got to give Clare a 3 points lead. Jimmy Carroll picking that one beautifully out of the air. Oh, a tremendous run by Jimmy Carroll. He'll look for a point, I'm sure. Jimmy Carroll has put it wide. Oh, that was unfortunate for Jimmy Carroll. It deserved a score. A tremendous catch and a flying run. The finishing not quite matching the superb approach work. Batted down by Brian Finn. Sir Lyons there for Clare, Pat Kramer for Limerick, and Paddy Kelly for Limerick. Declan Coote to challenge. But Paddy Kelly had to come a long way downfield to win that ball. That's a sign of Clare's dominance. Farmer Carroll here for Limerick. He's had a frustrating time, but he's worked very hard, but hasn't had an awful lot to show. And he can't show anything here either. That's great work by the centre-back, Jim McInerney, but he was put under pressure again. Danny Fitzgerald here for Limerick. Surely Limerick would be better advised to play a man like Danny Fitzgerald much further out the field. He's been very confined in the corner, especially in this second half. And Clare come away with it again. Great work in the second half by the Clare backs, who weren't nearly as effective in the first half. Paddy Kelly, blocked by Sean Stack. He has settled well into the game. Brian Finn reading that one nicely for Limerick. To Liam O'Donoghue, who's had a steadying influence on that Limerick backline since he came on as a sub. Liam Tobin just letting it run through. Shawnee McMahon nicely to Declan Coote. Declan Coote towards Johnny Calman. This is good hurling now in this second half. Pat Herbert there for Limerick. Pat Kramer with the pull. Jimmy Carroll is there too. Fends off the tackle of James Shanahan and Johnny Calman and gets it down towards Ray Sampson. Ray Sampson was chopped going through. Play on, says the referee. Sean Stack with the clearance. Jimmy Carroll flicking it back towards Liam O'Donoghue. Playing with tremendous heart, Liam O'Donoghue, as always. Towards Bomber Carroll. Jim McInerney beaten for once. Tobin the substitute. Trying to drive his way through there, but the Clare back standing firm again. Paddy Kelly, but he's had to go right out to the corner, back towards Pat McCarthy and John Maroney. Maroney scooping it out. It comes to Tobin, the substitute. Tommy Kane is there for Clare. Clare very anxious to get this one out, and it comes eventually to James Shanahan, who drives it downfield. Good work again by the Clare backs. They were under pressure there and they never gave an inch. Still Dolan the full forward. Jerry McInerney. Clare trying to stretch it to the corners. Jerry McInerney through to Pat Lynch. Clare would love to score a point here, but it was taken out of the air by Paudie Fitzmaurice. Down towards Liam Tobin, the sub. Knocked out of his hands by Shawnee McMahon. Jimmy Carroll there for Limerick. Getting nicely away from his man. Down towards Pat McCarthy, who has come out to the corner. Pat McCarthy now playing on Tommy Kane. Sean Stack standing there for Clare. Great play by Clare once again. A good catch by Pat Herbert too. He has two men to his left if he can get it to them. Liam O'Donoghue there for Limerick. Jimmy Carroll to flick it on. Spectacular hurling now. Danny Fitzgerald, who has come out the field. We said a few minutes ago he'd be better off out there. Danny Fitzgerald trying to find Pat McCarthy once again, and Bomber Carroll. It fell to... Oh, it's gone wide. It's gone wide. Disputes in there. The Clare goalkeeper certainly thought it was wide, but the umpire, I think, is giving a 65. And so after a long, sustained passage of good hurling there, it falls eventually to Paddy Kelly with this 65. He's topped it, he's left it short. Beautifully taken out of the air there by Declan Coote. Well, everything, just at the moment at least, going right for Clare. Shawnee McMahon, down to Sil Dolan. To Val Donlan, who got so many valuable points since he came on as a sub at half-time. This is Johnny Callan. He needs a point here. He's got a point. Well, we'd waited right throughout the second half for Johnny Callan to explode into life, but when he comes into a game, he always comes into it effectively and spectacularly. A very fit-looking Johnny Callan, and a vital point there. Liam Tobin. Limerick looking for goals. Ray Sampson. It's gone over the bar, but it might well have sneaked under. There were a lot of clear bodies there in front of the goalkeeper, Owen McMahon, but it flew over the bar. But you just feel that Limerick there were looking for a goal. 'The crowd rising to Clare again. 9 minutes to go. This is a 35-minute half, of course. I may mistakenly have said 5 minutes to go a couple of minutes ago. If I did, apologies. We have 9 minutes to go now, but Clare still lead. And they're still hurling well right throughout the field. Here's Johnny Calman trying to swing one over. The angle was difficult. There were bodies around him, but Johnny Calman, all the experience being brought to bear there as he swung that one over. What a delightfully taken point that was. Four points between them again. Clare, who have the promise of a battle here with Tipperary if they win this one, and that's a prospect that all Clare men would relish because they feel they missed the boat against Tip last year. However, 8 tension-filled minutes to go. Val Donlan swinging one over, a marvellous point by Val Donlan. And that stretches it to 5, and what a brilliant move it was by Clare to bring in that man Val Donlan. He's now playing at full forward. Tommy Kane. Claremen with so many memories of that battle against Tipperary last year. They should really have won it here, but then they had to go to Thurles for the replay, and they were beaten on that occasion. I understand, because they did go to Thurles on that occasion, that they'll get this game on the 22nd of June here in Cusack Park. But all that to be decided and to be confirmed at a future date. They've got to win this match first, of course. And Limerick, I'm sure, will have their own ideas, because we still have 7 minutes to go here. Jimmy Carroll is one man who might inspire Limerick to a rally. So more hard pulling in there, but the referee this time deems that the pulling was by Limerick. It's a free out to Clare. Five points Clare lead. Owen McMahon certainly getting height and distance into that free. Shawnee McMahon looking for Val Donlan, the star of this Clare forward division in the second half. Breaking to Cyril Lyons. Not a good effort, however, by Cyril Lyons, and that one has gone harmlessly wide. Tommy Quaid with the puck out without wasting a second. Down to Jimmy Carroll. To Ray Sampson, who's had a good match for Limerick. But a lot of his good work in the half-forward line being sent to waste, really, on the inside line. And Tommy Kane getting a great cheer as he won that one. A great favourite with the Clare crowd, Tommy Kane, and he's won himself a plate. Owen McMahon, his team manager, I'm sure will be very proud of him. Seamus Durek, the man who kept goal and kept it so well for Clare for so long down to the years. And there's another point. Seamus Fitzpatrick, the substitute, making his presence felt and getting himself a point, and he's delighted, and why not? And there, the picture that tells the story behind the goal. Already the crowd leaving Cusick Park. There's a huge crowd here today, well up around the 20,000 mark, I'm sure. And already they're going away. That may be premature, because goals can fly in hurling, as we've seen so often down through the years. But you just feel right now that Clare are dominant, and they're not going to give this one away. Well, we've said this before, a 6-point lead in hurling is a good lead, but a 7-point lead is usually decisive. And Cyril Lyons has just given Clare exactly that, a 7-point lead. 2-14 to Clare, 13 points to Limerick. Danny Fitzgerald here for Limerick. Brian Finn's free. John Maroney and Pat McCarthy once again in an aerial tussle. But it's gone out for a 65. Ger Loughnane content to let that one out for the 65. Brian Finn here, one of the younger players in the Limerick team. Jimmy Carroll, knowing that Limerick need a goal, trying to sneak it through. Sean Stack has other ideas. Garvey, the substitute for Limerick, has got the point, but it may be too little too late. But we still have 2 minutes of play to go. And a very hard challenge by Sean McMahon on Brian Finn. The free to be taken where the ball lands. And surprising really that the referee Willie Horgan didn't have a word there with the Clare man, because that was a case really of taking the man out. Danny Fitzgerald lobbing it in. Pat McCarthy has just not been his day in there at full forward. And that too has gone out for a 65. Brian Finn lobbing this one in. But Clare coming away with it again, and Jim McInerney, who has played so well right throughout this game at centre half out, sweeping it downfield to a tremendous cheer from the Clare supporters. Jerry McInerney trying to scoop it through, and Liam O'Donoghue, no man has fought harder and more bravely really than Liam O'Donoghue since he came on. It's all over, however. Willie Horgan blows the full-time whistle. The crowds come on to Cusick Park. It's a proud day for Clare. This is a match that they desperately wanted to win, because they want to meet Tipperary again. And Tommy Kane, the captain, well, that's a picture that tells a story. A delighted Tommy Kane, but a very sporting captain too, because he's anxious to have a word of commiserations with the Limerick men. But Tommy Kane, a very proud man who leads Clare to victory here in his own Ennis grounds today, and who leads Clare now into what will be a revenge date with Tipperary. Seamus, after a long build-up and a lot of worry, I'm sure, what was the feeling like when you finally won through 2-14 to 14 points?
I would say a feeling of relief, really, because for so long playing, it's kind of different when you're sitting down there and you're not part of the action. But especially for the lads and my team with me, like Father Bohan and Jackie and Martin McHugh and Colin Flynn, like they worked exceptionally hard as well too, and I'm sure it was a great relief for them. Limerick and Clare is always special, like even if there's only a tournament, like there's always bias there.
Like so many other counties, I'm sure, Seamus, your supporters here in Clare are always very difficult to please. I'm sure there was a lot at stake in that match.
Well, it was said in the paper during the week it was make or break for Clare. sport is a great leveler. Like, it can go either way, and knowing for so many years we've been up and down and we have highs and lows and everything like that. That's the reason I wouldn't put too much emphasis on beating Limerick today, like, because they had a lot of injuries and we were at home, and naturally we had a few advantages and we went into the game with very little enough injuries. But the Tipperary game is another game now, which is in a couple of weeks' time, and they will provide a different challenge again.
It looked bad early on, but we got a goal or two before half-time. We needed that. I was quite confident at half-time with the advantage of the breeze and that we probably would take him, but it would have been a real tough slog, which it was, right throughout.
So then, Clare into the Munster semi-final against Tipperary. And Eamon Cregan, you must have had mixed feelings about today's match in Ennis, as obviously a former Limerick player and, of course, trainer of the Clare team last year.
Well, as of today, I had no mixed feelings, Michael. I was a Limerick man and Limerick were defeated, so I was naturally disappointed. Looking at the game, I think by half-time Limerick had enough up on the scoreboard. They were a point ahead with a very strong breeze. And having looked at the team last week, it was a very inexperienced side. There were 8 new players on it. They hadn't enough up at half-time with the